Talk Time Internet Radio, being brought to you by way of LA Radio Studio in the beautiful city of San Pedro. We are here today. Actually, we changed the show a little bit for those of you that were hoping to hear a little bit about the coyote situation we have here and abroad, actually. We have changed it a little bit into the natural disasters, being what happened in Italy last night. We thought it would be appropriate to go hit on and address a lot of these issues that are taking place all over the nation and probably even globally. That said, we have several guests with us today. One of our guests, Crystal Itu, she is actually a native San Pedro, now living in Louisiana. Hello, Crystal.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing very good. I want to thank you, number one, for taking time and being on the radio show today. However, by phone call, nonetheless, the distance makes it possible.
Yes, absolutely. I apologize if you hear any background information. I'm trying to find a quiet spot.
Very good. Let me just introduce the rest of the guests tonight. We have John Bagakis, the owner of Big Nick's Pizza.
How are you, Zeke?
I'm doing very well, and good to have you here again.
Thank you.
You're starting to be a normal here now with us, and of course he is the honorary mayor here in San Pedro as well, and so we're always glad to have him. We also have George Palacio. George, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
One of the founders of Saving San Pedro, and hopefully we will be saving a lot of people with a lot of information that we're going to extract from you, actually, today. So it was good. I'm glad you're here today.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Mayor Jim Deere. Hello, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
Well, good. I'm glad to have you here. You are a historian, teacher in history, correct?
Correct.
So we hopefully will be able to pick your brain a little bit with some of the history of Italy and maybe some of the history here in the United States as well.
Absolutely.
So with that, natural disasters just seem to be something that's taking place more now, or is it because we're able to see it? I mean, it's probably happened, but I just don't think that it's happened with a frequency all over the world like it is now. It's only been a couple of years. Is that correct, Crystal, since we had Katrina?
Well, Katrina was in 2005, I believe.
2005. So we're talking 11 years. To have a disaster of the proportion that you have now, that is not something that... When was the last time there was a natural disaster before Katrina in Louisiana?
Oh, gosh. I'm not originally from Louisiana, remember, so I know that there's been a couple... We had, in 2008, that was actually 2 weeks after I moved to Louisiana, we had Hurricane Gustav. And Hurricane Gustav hit and affected most of the north central part of Louisiana. And it just so happened that the little town that I moved to got 23 inches of rain. And we were without power and water for 4 days. And it ran all the way up from Baton Rouge up to south up to the west. So that actually came after Katrina. Before that, I know there's been several, but I'm not familiar with all the names of every all the hurricanes.
Well, you were there while Katrina took place, weren't you?
No.
Oh, you weren't. That's right. That's correct. You've only been there 4 years or so?
I've been here since 2008. I got here 2 weeks before Gustav hit.
Okay, so now how do you compare this flood to Katrina? Katrina was a hurricane that caused a dam to break. Is that correct?
Well, it's a levee. So
it's a levee, correct.
I don't know if you're familiar, but Louisiana is actually located, the way that it is, the city itself is below sea level. And one of the things that is very common in Louisiana is like cemeteries are above, like the graves are above the ground. You see a lot of actual encased in stone coffins, whatnot, above the ground, and that's because of everything being so close and below sea level. And so, but there's a big levee that surrounds, and if you don't know what a levee is, it's like a man-made hill, okay, that's supposed to block any flooding of water, and it's all surrounding of New Orleans. And so when Hurricane Katrina hit, it was a Category 5 hurricane. I mean, unprecedented. They had lots and lots of warnings to get out, but it was the winds and were so strong, and the water, the amount of rain was so heavy that it actually pushed through those man-made hills. And when the levee broke, the force of the entire Gulf of Mexico came flooding into New Orleans. New Orleans is like a bowl.
Incredible. So when you compare that to what you are living through now, just for the sake of the listeners, you are currently in a flood zone, correct?
Well, actually, no. In fact, I think they said I was doing some research to prepare for this, and I was looking at some of the statistics. And I want to say they said 1 in 3 people don't have flood insurance. And I know for us in Zeke, Louisiana, where the storm first hit, it's not a flood zone. There's a 100-year flood plain map that we get that you're supposed to. It tells you whether or not you have to buy flood insurance, and most of the places that flooded had never flooded before.
Well, so flood insurance is not something that's required to purchase at home.
Only if you live in a flood zone.
Okay. And what kind of flood radius are we talking about?
Well, okay, to give you guys some perspective, I tried I looked it up, and the weather.com website gave a total square mile radius of over 11,000 square miles have flooded. There's 64 parishes in Louisiana, so a parish is like a county. So it would be like Los Angeles County. And so 20 of those 64 parishes have flooded, 11,000 square miles. To give you some perspective on that, I looked it up, and Los Angeles County and Orange County combined is only 1,300 sometimes square miles.